Hi guys, welcome to Target USMLE. Today is an interesting topic. Actually, I came up with this title called The 10 Kickstarters for the CS Robot. It's sort of interesting because there were so many things you had to remember for the exam, like you had to address the patient by last name, you have to smile, you have to shake hands, and you have to empathize. So I thought, is there a way I could put all these things together so I can remember it as a package? And that's how I came up with the 10 Kickstarters. And I noticed that the more I practiced it, I almost became like a robo. I just wasn't thinking what I was saying, but I was scoring all the 10 points. So here's the 10 Kickstarters that I would like to share with you. And if it helps you, please feel free to use it for your exam. All right, let's get started. So number 1 and 2, of course, the 10 Kickstarters you're going to start after you've read the doorway information and you're ready to knock. Just before you knock, make sure you take a deep breath and let go. You can't imagine how much that relaxes you. And then most importantly, remember the last name of the patient, because sometimes I see my students, they knock, come in and they forget what the patient's last name was. So recall the last name of the patient before your finger touches the door, okay? So knock, recall the last name of the patient before you knock, as I said, and then enter smiling. Sometimes students think they're smiling, but they're actually not. So voluntarily put on a big smile. All right, next, you want to address the patient by her last name or his last name. So, hello, Mr. Kent. Hello, Ms. Keller. They do not say if it is married woman, Mrs. or Miss. So kind of just call Ms. with a Z. So hello, Ms. Keller. I'm Dr. Nathan. I'm the resident on call today. Or you can say, hello, I'm Dr. Nathan. I'm the resident on call today, or duty doctor here today. So whatever you choose to say, but stick with that sentence so it kind of becomes a routine and you're not just jumbling for words. So that's 3 and 4. And then we'll go on to 5 and 6, which is while you're introducing yourself and addressing the patient by last name, you shake hands and you make eye contact. So literally, while you say, nice to meet you, you're doing actually 3, 4, 5, and 6 together. So, hello, Miss George. I'm Dr. Nathan. I'm the resident on call today, as you shake hands and make eye contact and say, nice to meet you. All right, let's go to 7 and 8. Here you ask the patient, so how can I help you? The patient says, doctor, I have severe belly pain. And then you say, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. So there you empathize. So you've already got the point for empathy. I know there are other places where you can empathize when the pain is very severe, when you're asking the pain scale, or maybe the parent has cancer or heart attack, or they died in a car accident. You can empathize there too, but chief complaint is a good spot to empathize too and get the point. So make use of that. And next, let's go to 9 and 10. 9 and 10, you're going to drape the patient. So just ask the patient, are you comfortable in this room? Can I make you more comfortable by putting this drape on? White sort of bed sheet that's folded and kept on the stool. You take it and put it around the waist of the patient. Okay, sometimes the patients are already draped, so don't bother then. You should be able to be very flexible for the Step 2 CS exam. You don't have to be so rigid with a set number of questions, just be flexible enough to change yourself and adapt to the situation, as it's just like real-time scenario how you see patients. You're not programmed to ask a bunch of questions, right? Like you just go with the flow. So just the whole point here is to de-stress yourself, be relaxed, and I'm sure you'll do fine because you have the basic medical knowledge to handle it. You just have to note the nitty-gritty stuff that Step 2 CS exam requires, and that's what I'm trying to help you with. And then you say, okay, do you mind if I sit down and take some notes? And you may sit down on the stool because you've already draped the patient. So why do you have to sit down? Is a question. Some students ask me, why can't I stand? Of course you'll stand when the patient is in an emergency setting, or if the patient is not sitting and he's walking around the room, you don't want to be sitting and talking to the patient, right? You want to be sitting down for a couple of reasons if the situation permits. Number 1, first of all, it's a long exam. You have 12 cases and it's like over 8 hours. I think it is a good posture for, situations like hypotension, hypoglycemia, stress, anxiety, you call it. So it's better to sit down and be more relaxed so you don't faint in the exam, and you're more composed professionally, sitting tall, and you may crisscross your legs, and but sit tall professionally at a good distance from the patient where you can make eye contact, and don't try to put your leg on top of the patient's examination table or on the wall. Take a note of that. I've seen several students do that, but it's their habit to just do it. So be aware of that. Make yourself very professional. And then also sitting down helps you to rest your clip pad on your lap as you write. So whatever notes you're making from the patient, it's very legible for you when you translate it into typing when you write your patient notes. So that's another reason why sitting helps. And of course, if you're the kind that forgets to put the drape on all the time, at least when you sit, hopefully you'll see the drape and put it on the patient. All right, so that's the 10 Kickstarters. So here we go. Just to summarize all the 10 Kickstarters, I know I've been talking a lot, so just essence, summary. So first of all, as soon as you read the doorway information, when they say examinees, you may now begin. You read the doorway information, and just when you're ready to knock, take a deep breath, recall the patient's last name, and knock, knock. And then you enter smiling. Hello, Mr. Keller. I'm Dr. Nathan. I'm the resident on call today. Shake hands, make eye contact. How can I help you today? And when they say, oh, doctor, I have a headache. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Are you comfortable in this room? Let me make you more comfortable by putting this drape on. So tell me about this belly pain that you've been having, okay? So it hardly takes a couple of minutes. But you see, this exam is also about spoken English proficiency. So you want to be very proficient. And when do you think the patient is going to judge you about your English? Remember, just like you are taking 12 SPs in this exam, every single SP sitting there is going to take on 12 doctors that come inside the room. And when do you think the SP is going to judge the doctor's English? In the first few minutes. So even if you're good in English, if you have all these together in your mind and you've practiced it several times, you're going to sound very fluent even if you're not. So that's the idea here. So all 10 come with practice. So practice it a couple of times in front of the wall, in front of your wife, husband, whatever, and then just make it your own. So in the real exam, actually, you're a robo. You're not even thinking. Only thing that you have to change is the patient's last name. Rest of the dialogue, your dialogue at least, is going to be the same. The patient's chief complaint might be different. All right. So why practice the 10 Kickstarters? Just like I told you, it has to be done for every case. So why not do it? Practice. And then each of the 10 Kickstarters gets graded. So you want all the points in. Instead of remembering them individually, I put it in a package where you can remember. So though it looks kind of silly, but I think it works for most of my students. It is the same for all 12 cases except the patient's last name, just like I told you. So if you practice well, you shouldn't even be really thinking in the real exam. You're on automatic mode after knock knock. So you realize you knock and then you're sitting on the stool. And then your mind is actually raising on, okay, what is this case and what are the questions that I need to be asking for history of present illness? So that's it, guys. So I hope this was good and helpful. It helped me a lot, so I hope it helps you. So for more tips, again, visit my website at targetusmle.com. You can email me and tell me your feedback on this, whether it helped you for your exam, and you can pass it on to your friends. And if you need to contact me, and if you need more coaching on other subjects and want to practice cases with me, you can always add me on Skype. My ID is MJ June 1. Thanks again for listening. Bye-bye.